Hi, welcome to Bookie. Today we will unlock the book The Age of Gold, the California Gold Rush and the New American Dream. The Gold Rush, the comedic masterpiece of filmmaker Charlie Chaplin, was released in 1925. The film tells the story of Charlie, a tramp who joins the gold rush in the American West, experiencing hunger, hardship, and dangers along the way. In the end, he becomes a wealthy man and wins a woman's heart. The film lodges itself in the public consciousness, because Chaplin uses the hardships of an everyday man to convey the context of a significant era. It provides a realistic and accurate interpretation of the characters in the gold rush. Audiences are always impressed by the scene in which Charlie cooks and eats his shoes due to hunger. In a hunger-induced trance, Jim imagines Charlie as a turkey and tries to hunt him. These scenes make people laugh and understand the hardship and sadness that poor people faced at that time. The Age of Gold that we are discussing today will take you back to a legendary age in human history to look at the stories of bravery, tenacity, and toughness of everyday people affected by the gold rush. They were both great explorers and speculators in pursuit of profit. Their experience was the beginning of the American dream and the best representation of the entrepreneurial culture that continues to influence the world. This era is the Age of Gold in America from 1848 to 1869 as noted in the book. The California Gold Rush of 1848 was the most interesting historical period in America. In the riverbeds of Sacramento, California, a carpenter stumbled upon a mineral particle that glittered with gold. It has since sparked the world's never-ending search for the land of gold. People of different countries and races participated in the gold rush, and experienced storms, disease, war, fire, as well as challenges from the darkest depths of human nature. This group of daring pioneers established a prosperous, orderly, and harmonious California from the wilderness, starting down the path towards the modern American society we are familiar with. How did the gold rush 170 years ago affect the U.S. and the world of universal wealth creation today? The Age of Gold gives a vivid and accurate narrative of gold rush history, where you will find both detailed and objective answers. H. W. Brands, the author of this book, is a professor of history at the University of Texas in Austin. The school has awarded him the Jack S. Blanton Sr. Chair in History. He is also a very well-known best-selling author in America. He is an incredibly gifted writer whose work has been shortlisted twice for the Pulitzer Prize. USA Today described him as the rare academic historian who can write like a best-selling novelist. Before this book, Brands published several works on American history and biographies of famous figures, such as The Money Men, Capitalism, Democracy, and the 100 Years' War over the American Dollar and Greenback Planet, How the Dollar Conquered the World and Threatened Civilization as We Know It. He is widely regarded as an experienced research expert in American history. In the Age of Gold that we will be talking about today, he still maintains the think big, act small writing style. At turning points in history, the author uses the intriguing stories of everyday people to connect a series of significant events in the course of America's development. The depth of history in this book, along with fun stories, provides a fresh perspective on the American gold rush and its impact. It is instructive for those of us struggling to navigate the opportunities of the current entrepreneurial boom. Next, we will explain the book in 3 parts. Part 1: Immigration to California. Part 2: From the Wilderness to California. Part 3: Recreating a New American Dream. In Part 1, let's begin with a brief introduction of 2 essential events that provide context for this era, one being the American Westward Movement and the other being the Mexican War between the U.S. and Mexico. After the discovery of America at the end of the 15th century, large numbers of immigrants from Europe and Africa flocked there, gradually forming the earliest American nation. The British government at the time imposed oppressive policies on the North American colonies, where some settlers migrated west to begin their initial expansion. By the end of the 18th century, after the American War of Independence, large numbers of capitalists, slave owners, speculators, and ordinary people embarked on another large-scale westward expansion of the territory to ease the conflicts and expand the domestic market. The Westward Movement became a development strategy for the whole country at that time. A concept called manifest destiny was introduced, which also became a value that advocated for American expansion in the 1840s. When America first became independent, it was not as big a